Hi everyone. I got like a really big go channel now. Share this with everybody. So here I am. Um, Basically, you're dealing with a lot of shame. You're silencing yourself because you're afraid of how they're going to receive it. You're afraid of how you'll be perceived. Um, and you're dealing with some shame about how it makes you look, or how how it's going to come across. And because it's how you're feeling internally, and because we've built these stories in our mind about what other people see us as and how they view us, um, that that will all go away if we share this part of ourselves, and that's part of the vulnerability, right? And so if we can face the shame and say, I don't have to be ashamed of this because I'm not the only one who's ever dealt with this before. I'm not the first, right? When we're not the first, that makes it a little bit easier, but also just the fact that you you are human. You're meant to make these mistakes. You're meant to carry these things, but you're not meant to carry them alone. And there's no shame in just saying it and being truthful about it and kind of owning it. Almost like, not like a badge of honor, but almost like a patch. Like I'm seeing like the Girl Scout patch or the Boy Scout patch, or that's kind of what I'm seeing. And so it's sort of like when you can own it and own and really sit in the shame and like recognize where it's coming from, somewhere in our past, somewhere of something out of alignment with ourselves, and then be willing to say something bravely, then we're setting ourselves free. And the more we do that, the more free we become. And so it's not seeking freedom, but it's seeking this state of peace that you want in your life, but you have to be willing to own the shame part, like to move through the fear of exposing the shame, getting through the shame itself, and on the other side is the freedom. So you need to stop silencing yourself and practice with someone who's safe, a safe person for you, whoever that looks like. But practice with them out loud so that when the time comes, you're not silencing yourself anymore. You have been through a lot and you don't have to walk around as if that's a bad thing, right? It's a shameful thing. And if someone is making you feel shameful, then they're not meant to be around you. And if they have a bad reaction when you are sharing vulnerably, then that tells you more about that person than it does about you, because you're being brave and you're sharing your courage by opening up and being vulnerable and not silencing yourself. But if they're having a bad reaction, then essentially what that's telling you is they're not meant to be around. They're not meant to be in this part of your story as you heal and move forward, because you're now in your freedom state, right? Because you move through the fear, you move through the shame, now you're in this freedom state. And they're trapped. They're not free. They're in their own prison of their own story that they created. So as we start to unlearn these stories about ourselves, or that we've built in about other people in our lives, we start to see that these stories aren't really true. And there's so much freedom available to you, but you have to quit silencing yourself because of the shame. I can say this because I know that I've done this, and it's taken a lot of work and a lot of bravery and a lot of courage. However, what I will say is that the beautiful connections I've had with people, the conversations, the newness of this reality that I'm in has been empowering, and it has been eye-opening, and it has been beautiful. Really, like it just unfolds in a really great way. And I don't want to carry these other people with me. I don't want them to come with me on this path if they can't allow me to move through my own healing and owning that shame and moving through the fear of it, to get to the other side. I don't want them. If they're trapped, like that's their job. That's not my job to get them untrapped, to get them out of the trap. That's not my job. My job's to get me out of the trap. And so that's what I'm talking about here, is like you have to be brave enough and courageous enough to get through your own story, your own trap that you've been put in or you put yourself into. And part of that is not silencing yourself anymore. So you're encouraged to practice with someone who is safe, and being vulnerable and as authentic as you can be. And then you're going to start to see things start to open up for you. Don't go back into the trap. Like, right? Like if an animal is released from the trap that it's gotten itself caught into, it doesn't come back to the trap and go, please close me back in. Like, it doesn't do that. So don't do that to yourself. Just because they have a bad reaction, it has nothing to do with you. Okay. So that is the channeled message. That is what's coming through. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.